I've seen a lot of discussions about the controversies surrounding Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, with some players even boycotting the game. As a Christian who spent over 155 hours in it, I feel compelled to speak out. Should you, as a Christian, boycott the game? Or should you just ignore the controversy? The first question that really matters is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 a good game? And the answer is a resounding yes. This is an amazing game. So why are so many people angry? Why are some players turning away from it? I think it all boils down to one thing. People are sick and tired of seeing their favorite video game franchises warped by political activism. Take Dragon Age the Veilguard, for example. A once beloved dark fantasy series now reduced to making the player sit at a dinner table while a demon comes out as non-binary to its parents, forcing you to navigate the correct pronouns in a world where you can shape-shift into almost anything. This forced agenda pushing has infected the gaming industry for years, and fans are exhausted. So when even a hint of this kind of modern pandering appeared in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, players immediately recoiled. To be fair though, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is nowhere near as bad as Dragon Age the Veilguard or some of the other modern audience slop we were force-fed last year. There's actually more forced modernity in Baldur's Gate 3 than in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But unlike Baldur's Gate 3, which was marketed to a broad audience, Kingdom Come Deliverance was a game built for history buffs, hardcore role players, and even Christians. The original game was praised for its commitment to historical accuracy, its deep Christian themes, and its respect for the setting. It wasn't a fantasy world, it was 15th century Bohemia, a place with real people, real struggles, and real faith. But unsurprisingly, Warhorse Studios received massive backlash from mainstream gaming outlets like IGN for not making the game inclusive enough. It was too Christian, too white, and too historically accurate. So while Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 isn't exactly woke, it does betray the expectations of its original fan base, including many of the very people who funded the first game. One of the biggest controversies is the addition of 3 gay sex scenes, one of which involves Hans Capon, Henry's lord. These scenes are completely avoidable, but that's not the issue. The issue is that it destroys the incredible story Warhorse Studios originally crafted. Hans Capon, who was written as a brotherly and somewhat comedic figure, is now reduced to a graphic gay sex scene. But the bigger issue is that Warhorse Studios made it clear from the very start that Henry's story was pre-written. You weren't supposed to self-insert into the game. You were playing Henry of Skalitz, a Christian man, living out his preordained journey in medieval Bohemia. That was the charm of the first game. Now, suddenly, Henry can be gay. That completely retcons the character and undermines the established canon. Henry is no longer the noble Christian he was originally written to be. Now Henry is whatever the modern audience wants him to be, even if that means making him a flamboyant sinner who has sex with his male proverbial cousin. This wasn't a part of Henry's character in the first game, yet Warhorse Studios forced it in to satisfy a community that wasn't even asking for it. And here is the ironic part. The LGBTQ community isn't going to play this game. They don't care about the history. They don't care about the 150 hours of medieval storytelling, the Lord's Prayer, or hearing Hail Mary before battle. They might complain about inclusivity, but they aren't interested in the game in the slightest. They'll just look up the gay sex scenes on YouTube and be done with it. But because Warhorse made this romance canon, they are now trapped. If they make Kingdom Come Deliverance 3, they will be forced to acknowledge Henry and Capon's love story, or risk being called bigots. Also, the moment that Henry and Hans have gay sex, Hans is already engaged to another woman. So how will they handle that in the sequel? Are they going to turn the third game into a gay medieval soap opera? Will Henry and Hans cry on each other's shoulder because they can't live the life of sin together? And if they don't take it seriously, if they don't give Henry and Capon's gay romance the attention it now demands, the same activists that once complained about Kingdom Come Deliverance not being inclusive enough will turn on Warhorse Studios again. But shockingly, that isn't even the worst thing about the game. The most offensive part of this game isn't the optional gay romance. The most insulting thing in the entire game is a single character, the only person of color in this game, a Moor named Musa. Musa is not just a Moor, he is a Muslim. And in a game that prides itself on historical accuracy, Musa is written as more virtuous, more understanding, and more devout than every single Christian in the game. Let me remind you, this game is set in 15th century Bohemia. At this time in history, Christians were being slaughtered by the thousands. The Ottoman Empire was expanding. Christian cities were being conquered. Churches were being turned into mosques. Christian men were being beheaded. Christian women and children were sold into slavery. This was not a time of peaceful coexistence between Christians and Muslims. This was a time of bloodshed, war, and suffering. And yet, in Kingdom Come, Deliverance 2, we are expected to believe that a Moorish Muslim is the most righteous, the most honorable, the most pious character in the game. Meanwhile, the European Christians, the same people being slaughtered by the thousands, are portrayed as lesser in faith and virtue. This is not historical accuracy. This is historical revisionism. Warhorse Studios took a world that was built on Christian faith, Christian struggles, and Christian perseverance and rewrote it so that a Moor is the most morally upright character in the story. Warhorse Studios bent the knee. They didn't have to. Kingdom Come Deliverance was successful because it stayed true to history, Christianity, and realism. But now, they have compromised. They added gratuitous gay sex to appease an audience that will never play the game. And worse, they rewrote medieval Christian history to portray a Moor as the most virtuous character in the story, completely ignoring the real struggles of Christians in the 15th century. The saddest part? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is still a masterpiece. The gameplay, the immersion, the world, it is unparalleled, but the damage is done. For a game that prides itself on historical realism, the most unrealistic thing about this isn't the combat or the world or even the politics. It is the idea that a Moor would be the most righteous person in the land where Christians were dying for their faith. Warhorse Studios, you could have been brave. Instead, you caved.